Cuba, it's me. Welcome to episode 348 of The Willow Show, which stands for Wrestling is Life. Life is Wrestling. Now, I just wanted to talk a little bit about trying to be different. There is so much of the same wrestling I see over and over, and I understand. People want to do the styles that get talked about. When you go on social media and you hear all these great things about certain wrestlers, you want to try and emulate what they're doing to get over. But the thing is, a lot of times what they're doing to get over is because they're doing something different, something out of the box. Sometimes you gotta switch it up. Everybody wants to go and have 5-star matches, and I don't blame you. I'm the same. I want to have the best match ever every time I go out. But then you gotta remember, okay, where are you on the card? If you're the second match, you don't want to be doing all the moves the main event is doing, so you gotta know your place. And besides, you don't want to go outside. If you really want to career this, do you want to be a guy or a girl who wrestles for 2 years and has all these 5-star matches, but then their body breaks down because they can't handle it? You want to think longevity. Do you want to have a career at this? Do you want to make money at this and this to be your full-time job? Then you have to pace yourself. And I know that's horrible because everybody gets into it for aspirations. You want to win a championship. You want to be the main event. You want to be on all the things where they say, oh, you had the match of the year and now every other promotion's going to want to book you. But there's just so many wrestlers nowadays. There's so many people that can do what you can do, but better. Like, it's just like, you got to be like a 1% to make WWE or New Japan. And it's really hard. What are you going to do that's different? The indies, in my opinion, when you're first starting out, if you're the guy on the indies that's been wrestling 10 years and you're booked in all the promotions and you're doing main events and you're winning all the titles, okay, you don't really got to change it up that much. You're being successful at it, makes sense. But if you're really new in the business, the indies should be a place to hone your craft and to learn and to try out different things. They always say, like, the WWE guys, when they go on the house shows, they don't do the same matches. They practice different things and see how the crowd reacts to certain moves. And then when it comes time for a TV match or a big match at a pay-per-view, then they incorporate all the things in that work and then they do it. They always said the Razor Ramon Shawn Michaels ladder match at WrestleMania 10. I remember a bunch of shoot interviews where guys were saying they were having better ladder matches before WrestleMania 10, but they were doing the loop of doing ladder matches to perfect that match. And it's really hard, I know, nowadays in social media where everything is being filmed, everything is, you do one thing that's bad, people are going to put it everywhere, it's going to be on Botchamania, people are going to laugh at you, and it's really hard. You don't want to be embarrassed. The thing for me, and I know a lot of people don't want to take advice from me, who the hell is this Elian guy? But the thing for me is, I was so worried about being embarrassed. I always just wanted the respect of the other wrestlers. I wanted to be such a good wrestler where everyone said, if you're going to wrestle Elian, man, you're going to tear the house down. You're going to have the greatest match. But when I took time away from wrestling, I decided to try something different. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to go out there and embarrass myself. And that way, if I do anything embarrassing, well, it's part of my character. So what are you going to do that's different? How are you going to separate yourself from the pack? How many people are going to be as good of a wrestler as Josh Alexander? One in every 10,000? One in every 100,000? And even so, if you want to be Josh Alexander, there's already a Josh Alexander. So you want to be as good as him. Okay, but can you do it in a different style? Because I don't really think anyone pound for pound is going to be able to out-wrestle Josh. There'll be people that can keep up with him, yeah. But still, I don't know if anybody could ever surpass him. Or, like, think about talking on the mic. Who's going to be better on the microphone, and I'm talking Ontario, obviously, than Ethan Page or RJ City or one of those guys? What are you going to do different? Like, I do know a lot of promotions don't give a lot of ring time for indie feds. But I see a bunch of these promos, like, they're setting up for the next event, and you're on it, and you're facing so-and-so, and most of the time it's a cold match, which means there's no story behind it, or you never faced them before, or you faced them but it was in a different promotion. So, what are you going to do in your interview that's going to intrigue people? What are you going to do that's different? Like, I kind of find it hard to believe that a bunch of promos on the internet are gonna sell more tickets to the show. I figured the people that are already gonna go to the show are gonna go to the show because A, they like the promotion, B, they like certain wrestlers that are on the card, or they're bringing in a talent, or it's like close to the thing and they just love wrestling, so it's close and accessible. I highly doubt that so and so is going to cut a promo on the internet about who they're facing at the next show, and it's going to sell 50 more tickets from their promo. So why don't you just try and do things out of the box? And I know a lot of people don't want to do characters in wrestling anymore. Like, wrestling has evolved. It's not about being, in the 80s, everyone was a character. And now it's about being a top-notch athlete that's in great shape, that can last and do all the moves perfectly. But there's so many of that. So how are you going to be different? And why can't you try something new? And try, and it's hard, too, because when you're working with somebody else, they don't want to do that. Like, if you're like, hey, why don't we try something silly and different? Or why don't we try something that hasn't been done before? And, hey, it's either going to shit the bed or it's going to be talked about for a long time. But it's not just you. It's what the promoter wants. And then even if he's just like, the promoter or she is just like, hey, I don't care as long as this person wins in this amount of time, then you have to convince your opponent, hey, can we do something a little bit different? And that's not easy. I'm not saying any of this stuff is easy, but how are you going to work the crowd better than like a Cody Deaner or like Lenny Lilac? I see him go out there and get the greatest reactions, and he does like 3 or 4 moves, and that's it. And the crowd is louder for his matches than some of these guys that are going out there and doing every move you can imagine and doing it so well. So there's got to be something to that. And no matter how good your physique is, are you going to look like Congo Kong or a Rob Rage, or just have the the perfect physique is like Psycho Mike Rollins. He's tall, he's built, he's muscular, he's athletic. Not too many guys are going to look like that. And then, okay, so if you're the kind of wrestler that's like the cruiserweight style, like a lucha style, or like you're a flippy wrestler, there's been so much of that stuff done before. What are you going to do that's different than anybody else? Oh, you're going to do a triple moonsault? Then what's next? You're going to do a quadruple moonsault? Like, you got to learn to incorporate a different, and sometimes I know that's really hard to come up with a new move, but just putting your own twist on it. You can take a move and make it a signature move, and that's the thing, it's consistency too. If you start doing a move and then you do it every time, people look forward to seeing that, especially if you build up to it and you tease it, and you work it in different spots, and then you're going to get the pop because it's familiarity. People like to see the familiarity. When I wrestle, I just come out, run around, and yell Cuba and get so energetic, and I don't even think half the crowd respects me. I think half the time they're like, oh, there's this silly guy, but at least he's fun to watch, and it's familiarity. It's like, oh yeah, him, I remember him, and I had good thoughts of him last time. Like, do they really, a lot of them go home and say, man, you remember that spot in that one match where they had that sequence? Not too many of them. What are the memories that last? Like, every time you see the promotions will do like the year-end poll awards, and they'll have, what's the oh my god moment of the year and stuff like that. It's never like, well, there was that part in that match between the 3 and 4 minute mark between this guy and this guy. And what is it? And it's not just for wrestlers. What are the promotions? A lot of the promotions are using the same talent. And I know it's true, it's Ontario. You don't want to bring in huge guys. Not a lot of people can afford that. And even if you do bring in big names, it's not always a guarantee that you're going to make your money back and a profit. So I get it. But a lot of the promotions are having the same matches, which is fine. That's cool because a lot of the people in those areas haven't seen those matches before, or haven't seen them against each other. But at least put a story behind it or something, or like, and why the same matches over and over? Do you really want to do, hey, these guys just wrestled in this other promotion last month, now they're going to wrestle for me in my promotion? What's the difference? Because there is a lot of fans that go to all the promotions, so they're seeing the same thing. And what's the point of having a championship in your company? Like, really? Like, what does a championship mean? Isn't a championship to make a wrestler? Like, why do so many indie companies have 4 championships? So you have 7 or 8 matches on the card, and every second match is a championship match. what you should build up to a championship. And I've seen some really good things, and I'm usually so positive, and I'm trying to be positive, but I just sometimes the negative and the questions, and I'm just asking questions, sometimes that can help. And it's like, build up to it. Why is that? Why is it special when someone wins that championship? What is it? Or if you're a promotion, how can you do something different? Most people have the same setup. It's like the ring, the aisle, a couple banners or something like that. You could do something different. Try something different with the lighting. Try something different with the entrance. Try something different with the way the ring is. Anything you could do. You could try anything. If it fails, then you learn. You live and you learn from that. But I just want to know from you guys, what is something that you think people could do differently? Or what is something you've tried to do differently? Or what is something you would like to see tried differently in wrestling? And what do you think? Or like maybe you know a specific person and they just need that one thing to get over the hump. They have everything. They have a good body. They work good matches. They do good moves. They have a good ring presence. But they're still stuck in the pack. What can make them get that extra step? They had head above the shoulders kind of thing. And because I'd love to hear from you guys on the Willow Show. And as always, like or you get a leg drop, comment or you get a clothesline, subscribe or you get a suplex. I'm your host, Elian Habanero. I love wrestling. Cuba.